Okay, so here we go. Now this time we are talking about intimate partner violence, a very important topic. And you must be thinking, why English is going to ask these things? And answer is, you are the nurse. A nurse is discharging a client who was a victim of intimate partner violence. Which of the following should be included in the teaching as actionable items for the client? Select all that apply. Now, don't be worried about select all that apply questions. When you are with me, we are going to get it done. Okay, I promise you. Okay, here we go. Number 1, memorize the help hotline number. Number 2, sign up for an anger management class. 3, know the emergency exit door for your home. 4, let a trusted friend know a code number in order to notify the police. Number 5, minimize stimulating environment at home to avoid provocation of partner. Right? I will let you think about it and answer it, and we are going to come back to this. Right? Okay. So let's talk about intimate partner violence, what it is. And you might have heard about this word, domestic violence, and that's something which is kind of the same, commonly known as domestic violence, but the actual word is going to be intimate partner violence, or IPV. Right? Now, just like we talked about, bullying, it's very important that we identify any signs of any intimate partner violence in our patients. Now, it doesn't matter why they are admitted. Maybe they are here because of pneumonia. Maybe they are here because of some surgery. Maybe they are here because of a wound. Maybe they are here because of diabetes. It's okay. It's our responsibility as a nurse to identify these things and do the appropriate actions, right? So we should know about it. We should be competent enough to identify this and help them. And that's where our information comes. That's why NGLAS asks about you, because we are here to help people. We are here to help them have a better life, right? Good? Okay. So one thing I would like to mention about intimate partner violence is, what is it? Okay, that is violence or abuse or aggression that occurs in a romantic relationship. So most of the time when we use the term intimate partner violence, it's mostly in a romantic relationship, and the intimate partner who actually do the things, the bad things, they are usually current and former spouses and dating partners. So those are people who were so together at one point. It maybe they're still in that relationship. That's why we say it's the current. They're still in that relationship. That's why I said most people even don't know that it's intimate partner violence. They think everybody are like this. They think they don't have any other choice. Okay, just think about me as let's say I'm I'm unhealthy and I'm dependent and I have kids and I don't have any job. I don't have any other, relatives or friends or any support system. And if I am totally dependent on, my husband to take care of me and the kids, and even if there is some violence, I might ignore it. I might think that I have to take it because I'm dependent on him. So it's very important that we identify those kind of things in our patients. Okay, so intimate partner can be current situation or former spouses or dating partners. Now, there are a couple of things or types of behavior which are included in IPV or intimate partner violence. Those are, one is physical violence. Physical violence, I think it's easy for you to understand. There is, hitting or pushing or pulling or injuring someone physically. That is physical violence. It will leave physical marks, and sometimes we will see patients coming with, wounds and face and bruising and ecchymosis and things, and there is physical violence. The next one is sexual violence. Because this is between intimate partners, intimate partner violence, sexual violence is so much happening and not getting reported because they don't feel comfortable. You know, the clients, the victims don't feel comfortable reporting about it. It could be any sexual activities. It could be sexting too, like making someone, you know, write down things which they don't want to. So those things will also come under sexual violence. Stalking. Stalking is when someone is like unwanted attention and contact, like all the time. You are, you know, the violent partner is always watching you. It's always there, and wherever you go, you see that person, and it seems like they are always, their eyes are always on you and what you do. And sometimes nowadays it could be social media stalking too. You know, like always trying to figure out what's going on in the other person's life. So that is stalking. Psychological. Out of all this one is the most under detected, undiagnosed one, because, you know, most of the times it's emotional. There is no physical symptoms, right? You're not hitting, you're not doing anything else, but you are talking in a way and you're making the other person feel so bad emotionally. You are playing with the emotions, and that's a psychological effect. Okay. Very, very bad situations, you know, and if you think intimate partner violence is something which is only there in the movies, you're wrong. Okay, there's a lot of, it's very common and very underdiagnosed and undetected, and people don't even think about it. So very important that we understand that. All right. So let's talk about what are the resources available, and then we can talk more about it. Community resources available. Obviously, if there is physical injury, we are going to take care of it. We are going to treat those wounds. We are going to, when if somebody is dehydrated, we are going to make sure that they get enough fluid electrolyte balance. All those things as a nurse, we are going to take care. But there are certain things which comes under community resources, okay? Even though they are going to be very unique to what is going on and what is wrong with this situation, like, you know, whether this victim has children, or is there any other physical need or financial needs, and, you know, mental health need. So each community resource which is given to each person is going to be very customized and unique to the circumstances. But there are so many agencies who are helpful. There are so many governmental programs out there which can help in these victims, okay, the victims of IPV, intimate partner violence or domestic violence. So it's our responsibility to connect these, you know, these people with the right people, like these patients or victims with the right community resources. The social workers will know about it. The case managers will know about it. So please make sure that we do the consulting properly. We ask the legal department to come up and step up and do things. Okay, that's the job of us as primary nurses. And that's why NGLUS is going to ask about it, right? Okay, so shelters are available, hotlines are there, crisis interventions and counseling is available. So very important that we give those numbers to them, to these victims. They should know what is a help hotline number. Okay, they should know where to go for crisis intervention, whom to call, who is the trusted person, where is the shelter. If there is something going on and I have to get out of the house because my partner is so violent against me, I should know where to go, right? I should know a shelter, like a safe haven, right? It's important. Now, there are so many housing programs available, like emergency shelters, which we discussed, or some transition houses. And there are programs which will help you, the victim with, you know, even giving a down payment for a house, you know, for the financial help. So those kind of, you know, resources are available. And why am I talking about all that here? Because this is coming under the scope of practice of nurses. We should be able to identify these victims and guide them properly, okay? And help them to get to the resources, because they don't know. We can help. We know the right people, so connect them. And legal help, like protection orders, like you might know about like restraint orders, right? You are not supposed to be, the perpetrator or the violent person is not supposed to be within certain feet of that area. So very important. Okay. See how much a nurse can help, how much of a great impact you are doing in the community. It's such a noble profession, right? And we can help. We can help so many people to make a difference in their life. Help them out. Okay, it's important. Okay, here, let's go back to our question. So this is the question. A nurse is discharging a client who was a victim of intimate partner violence. So it's already given they were a victim of that intimate partner violence. So the question is, which of the following should be included? Should be included. Are we looking for something good or bad? Things which we should include, something which is yes, something which is true, with something which is good, we should do, right? And it says select all that apply question, and it's okay. Remember, it could be one, it could be all, it could be any in between. So let's look at number one. Memorize the help hotline number. Good thing or bad thing? Good thing, right? This victim should memorize the help hotline number just in case something happens. They should know where to call, which number to call. It's not about writing it down somewhere and keeping it. No, they should memorize it. Okay, so yes, this is a good thing. Yes, we will do that. So I'm going to say yes. Second one, sign up for an anger management class. What do you think about that? Do you think this victim is the one who need an anger management class? No, right? It is actually the person who is doing it, the violent person. The violent person is the one who needs crisis, problem solving skills or anger management class, right? So this is definitely a no for my question or my option. I'm not going to consider that. Now, maybe the victim has to go through, other crisis intervention classes, but I don't think anger management is part of that, right? So third one says, know the emergency exit door for your home. What do you think about that? Emergency exit door. I mean, do we have an emergency exit door in our house? Does it written there exit? No. But what does that actually mean? It means in your house, if someone is doing really violent against you, you should have an exit strategy, at least know how to get out of that house. Maybe it's a back door, maybe it's a trap door. I mean, we don't know, but have an exit door, have an exit strategy, know how to get out. Okay, it's important, right? So yes, know the emergency exit door. Fourth one, okay, let me write yes here. Fourth one, let a trusted friend know a code number in order to notify the police. Now you must be a little, kind of thinking about what is a code number. I will tell you what it is. Let's say my husband and me, and let's say my husband is a very violent partner. Okay, something is going on. One night he was, hitting me and doing all this physical violence, and then he's still there in the house. Okay, we are still in one room, right? And now let's say you are my friend. You are my friend. You are my trusted friend. Okay, let's say I want to let you know that something is going on. I want to let you know to help me. But can I just call and say that my husband is killing me? Can you please come? I mean, I may not be able to say that because he is still here with me, right? And I'm afraid of him. I may not be able to say that. So what is the idea? How can I let you know that I need help? For that, I need to have a code number before that. I need to have a code phrase. Let's say potatoes for dinner. I mean, let's say that's my code. Okay, so if I am calling you and telling you that, hey friend, it's potatoes for dinner today. When I say that, immediately my friend will recognize that there is a problem. My friend might just call 911 or whatever she needs to call, and they will come and help me. Now, I may not be able to have the ability to pick up the phone and tell my friend, right? When my violent partner is still there, I may not be able to, I may be scared to say that, right? But I may be okay to say that it's potatoes for dinner. I may be able to say that, right? So that's what it means by core number. So, question, let a trusted friend know about a core number. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's a yes or a no. What do you think? It's a yes. It's a yes. It's a very much yes. Okay, so I'm going to say yes. So yes, right? Now let's talk about the fifth thing. Minimize stimulating environment at home to avoid provocation of partner. Now I know most of you are going to say yes to that and select it, but I am not selecting that. Okay, it's a no for me, and I will tell you why. It's a big no. It says minimize stimulating environment at home to avoid provocation of partner. Is that how you want to live? Is that how you are going to tell your client to live? Like, when you go home, whenever your violent partner comes home, don't say anything. Just do everything he says. Don't argue, okay? Don't do anything. Just keep your voice low. Is that how you're going to tell them? Do you think that's the correct way of saying that? Is that how you are going to help them to come out of this intimate partner violence? My answer is no. Get out of that, right? Now, it's like you are telling your girls, like, oh, my girls, don't go out, okay? So you don't get attacked, you don't get hurt. I mean, don't wear clothes like that, or don't go out, don't go to shopping, don't go to talk to people, don't talk to boys, don't talk to girls, don't, just stay in the house. Is that how you are going to avoid intimate partner violence? No way, right? I'm hoping I'm making an enough statement here. That is not the right way. Right? So we need to help them understand that. So minimizing all the stimulations, like, it's not the right way to avoid intimate partner violence. Yes, both of you need crisis intervention. Yes, both of you need classes to help with your emotions. Yes, you need to do problem solving. Yes, you need help. Yes, you need mental health help maybe. But this is not going to be the answer. Okay, so it's a no. I hope I made it clear. Okay, so in our select all and apply questions, what are our options? 1, 3, and 4. Now, I hope you got the idea. NCLEX is holistic. Being a nurse is everything. It's not just giving IVs and medications and calling the doctor. It's not about taking care of your personal, needs like your bathing or bathrooms and taking you in ambulation. No, that is just one part of nursing. There is a whole different story to it. Okay, you and me became nurses to help others for everything. And that's what we are going to do. And that's what we are capable of doing. All right, that's what universe is going to prepare us to do. So I will see you as an RN to do what you are meant to do. Let's do this together, guys. Bye-bye. Take care.